ga ma ke yo ga ge he he he. Iru makaka he mama me he 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 he. Gu life life. Vida, life, 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 where is life, where is life, where is vida, 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 life, 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 snow, falling snow, cai a neve, cai a neve, cai a neve, snow, slow, slow, snow, snow, I am, we are here now. Vida, 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 life, life, life. Very pleased to be here. Thank you very much. Very thankful. License to all the spirits, to all the nature, to all the gods, all the energy of this universe. And gratitude to see all of you. I see all of you as a sculpture. Everything I see in my life, I begin to see as a sculpture as soon I begin to study sculptures. And sculptures for me was a way to take out of my body and put on the ground, on the world, to let it existence to that. Trying to create a continuity between our body and the landscape that we are, and where we are, how we are in this place. Now, we talk so much, we create the language, and the language sometimes put our life contained in some parts, and there is some things that we cannot really explain about. And that's where the art comes to be in between us in this place that nowadays I think is related to the spirituality. This place that Mr. Wolfe was talking about, that this unknown thing that give our feelings of things without we be able to explain that, without we be able to talk about that. So I had a lot of pictures here. I'm gonna try to show something about that and tell about what's going on my work, but also how do I feel that in relation to the society, and maybe a little bit of this time that I forgot to bring my telephone. But when we have 10 minutes, please tell me, and then 5. Because there is these things going on in Brazil that's very annoying, what's going on there. And I have some way of seeing it. So, long time ago, I was making some sculptures on these neo-concrete things, geometry, and I wanted to do something more biological, more meat, more flesh. And then came this work after 9 months of looking for that, and which has, in a way, this situation of masculine and feminine. I was going to shops to buy lead for shooting gun, and going to shops to buy stockings for legs, woman legs. And these guys get together on this situation that when we let it fall down, it recreates itself. So this relation with nature, trying always to know, to work with nature, was a necessity of myself, and still to create this integration to where we are and what we are doing here. And this is an exhibition I did in '89 that come from this colony. So with this situation, we can have this idea of population, of how we are living together in this situation, how we touch one to the other, how we create a collective body on these relations. Then, like 9 years later, I had, many things had happened, and one day I was going to a shop, and I get fascinated about the smell and the colors of the spices. I had been in this shop many times before, but why in this moment I had arrived in this shop and had this different relation to myself? So this is Piff, puff, puff. Well, it's written there. No, this is, oh, poof, puff, poof, poof, piff, piff, puff, poof, puff, piff. So when I arrived on that, I said, oh, you are on biology again, you know? And then I went to a shop, and near my studio, we need to find a title and these things. And I found a book of biology with a cell in the front of it. And when I began to move it, I saw a drawing that looks like ping, 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 ping with explosions. That look very much some drawings that I have done before, but I didn't realize about these drawings. In fact, when I got the first spice that I got was the turmeric. And I didn't want to have that in the stockings. I want to have in a box, something like that. But 1 week after, it was in the stocking. But the smell in my studio began to annoy me. I was not being able to deal with that. And then I went there and I got other spices, and I think it was clove after. And it began to create a balance of the environment, and I could really deal with that. But it's still a sculpture that has no body. The body was like this, like that, you know. I didn't really, it has no identity in this circumstance. When I pick up that to move, to go somewhere, I get completely dirty, you know. And one day, maybe 8 months later, not to say 9 months again, but I pick up the mouth of it. I pick up it by the mouth, and I make like that, poof. And then I didn't get dirty, and it got identity. I could repeat that many times, and it happens. It's interesting because this question of identity is always a question that annoys me, and a question that is very important in the universe and the planet that we are living. Because every time, in Portuguese, we have, for the verb to be, we have two situations. We have I am, and we have I am Ernesto, and we have I am here. And this I am here is a state, how you are feeling now, something that is happening at this moment. And this idea that something is happening of this moment always had been very important, because everything is in relationship. And the other work, on this work, you have this content and you have this continent. Now, the stocking is contenting the spicy. So there is a relationship. When you make this action and let it fall down, you have a relationship to going on. So everything in a relationship is going on. So after that, we had these works that I went to Mexico. And I was thinking very much about symbiosis in that time, how to live together, two plants that are together. And then I went to Mexico, and in Mexico, you know, I got really absolutely fascinated about the sculptures from Olmeca, Aztecas, Toltecas people. And in this place, these sculptures make me rethink about the Egyptians and the Greek sculptures. Looks like that these sculptures, they want to be more stone than a stone in itself. And these sculptures were found in the middle of the bush, were found in situations that they were really covered by the plants. They saw a weird bush on the forest, and they began to take the plants out, and there was a big Olmeca head. And they begin to go, saw a mountain, then begin to take the forest out, and there is a pyramid. And this situation shows a desire of life very strong of this forest, swallowing everything. And this was something that, I don't know what it has to do with this work, but the fact is that the week I arrived there, I stayed very much alone because first I lost my key, I couldn't get in my apartment, but anyway, the day after I got there, it was Sunday, so the day after Monday I got there, I went out with a friend, I received a phone call that I didn't really like much. I think the phone call was before, and then I went to a friend, we had 3 beers, and I came home, and I after a while, I vomit something very white. And it looks like the pulque, the indigenous drink that I drink in Mexico 3 days before. But it was 3 days before. I don't know what was that. But in this week, I stay alone, and I theorize this idea of the naves, that would be this space body space gallery that we would take your shoes and get inside, like if we are going inside of our body. Because in this universe that we are now, we have all these microscopes and telescopes. So our field, now our place to field is very different. It's much bigger. The landscape is much bigger than the landscape we are. Well, anyway. I'm gonna arrive in one work. So, this exhibition here is named Dengo. Dengo comes from a song from Martinho da Vila, an Afro-Brazilian guy who plays samba, and he's a great philosopher, you know, he's a teacher. But anyway, this staircase that we see there, at some point in Rio de Janeiro, at the Arpoador Beach, now, I had been going very much to the beach. The beach was our relation, strong relation with the nature. Now we have this place to be, we have the forest, the mountains. So Rio de Janeiro is a place that the nature is really strong. You know, we have big buildings, it's a huge city, but it is small regarding the mountain like Pedra da Gávea, Two Brothers, and the infinity of the sea, the eternity of the mountain. So we have this relation there. And there is these people in Brazil, because in Brazil, now, we are like, now, people arrive there, Portuguese arrive there, a lot of people, other French, Dutch, they went there too, but anyway. But when they arrived there, there was some relationships, you know? So the first Brazilian is son of an indigenous woman, parent of our friend Naini, you know? So that's the beginning of Brazil. That a boy or a girl who born from an indigenous woman and a Portuguese or a French European. And then many of these had happened, many Brazilians born from indigenous women. And then many Brazilians born from African women. So there is this mix, you know, there is this sexual mix, you know, so the first Brazilians like that, there is the complex of the street dog on the Brazilians, and it's really an annoying thing because the Brazilians are always, Brazilian society are always waiting for the bastard father to come there, put a sword in the head, and say, you are somebody, you know, and you know who are the bastard fathers? You guys. I'm not saying that you are bastard, it's just because you were not there. But this is crazy. It's a fanatism of the Brazilians, you know. But it is a problem, you know. And this problem happens because we are Brazilians, we are not Westerns. Now, you all know that we are not Westerns. I know that you know. But we are all educated on the schools. 10 minutes. People tell that we are Westerns. They say, the teacher says, we the Westerns, blah, 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 blah. So I grew up being educated that I was Western. You know, and we study a lot of Western things on the school. We don't study the Africans, we don't study the indigenous, we study the West. We study Greek mythology, like Grada bring to us today, you know. My kids love Greek mythology, but if my kids hear stories of the Orishas, the Afro mythology, or the indigenous stories, they would love to because they are incredible too, you know. But we grow up like that, and I was in France, and the guy asked me, a woman from Finland send ping, 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 ping. She sent some questions. Hey, Ernesto, I'm a student from Finland. Would you answer my questions? Dun, 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 dun. Question comes, question goes. Hey, 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 hey. So the fifth question was, how do you feel showing the West? I said, well, at home, because I'm a Western. And then I began to ask everybody, am I Western? We are Brazilians, we are Western? No, 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 no. And I call my very good friends, I was living in Sachet at Calder's studio, and he said, no, you guys, they had lived, my friend, very good, Frank Lebovici, who had been in Rio de Janeiro, in my home many times. No, you have this thing of the body, you know, different thing, blah, blah. But anyway, I'm not going to get very much these whys, but I can tell you one day for the ones who want. But I feel very good, great. So I'm not a Western, this is cool. So more lightness, I don't need to respond to all these Western problems, that the West has. And I arrive in Brazil saying, hey, we are not Westerns. And my friend, wow, that's cool, very good. Well, it's good to know that. Finally. And then one day I was meeting someone a little bit more chic than I am, and well-educated. And then said, no, because we are not Western. I just said, how come we are not Western? No, we are not Western. Who told you that? And I said, the Europeans. And who they think they are? And I said, the Westerns. So this is just for you know what is this level in Brazil, So more white you are, high level you are, more black or indigenous you are, lower you are. This is the situation, okay? I'm not saying that's good, bad, just saying how it is. Well, it's bad for me now, of course. But anyway, really problematic. But these crazy people, they always try, since 100 years, they are trying to make the race more white, and make and westernize our society. In our flag is written order and progress. Can you believe that? Brazil, order and progress, And everything, when they put somebody in the jail and do like that, is to keep the order, because I'm researching some things very new that is really seeing things that is good to see. But anyway, so at Arpoador, where we begin to go to the beach at some point because we are doing a party, but we're doing a party, an open party, New Year's Eve, everybody could get in, barbecue to anybody who wants, music, everybody dancing until the morning of the next day, just swimming suit, the seas, the toilet, and we good to go with your girlfriend, hug her, and pee at 3 o'clock in the morning, full of beers to get out, pee together, warming up each other, all these things, life. And but the mayor decided to do, where was our party, to do a rave, sponsored by the Guaraná company. And then we moved to Arpoador. At some point in Arpoador is higher, the moor to the beach. And there was some staircase like that with these plastic bags, or kind of plastic bags, that we could come down, go to the beach. And I love it. I loved it. I fill bags. That's what I do. I do two things. I fill bags and I make knots. That's what I do for a living, for all my life. And so I love it completely. Yeah. And they were more shy. They were more like that. Tum, 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 tum. There was one like this, but it disappeared and stayed just the ones like that, shy. But then the mayor did a kind of arm that goes like that, and could walk down to the beach by concrete construction, official health and safety, the two warriors of the apocalypse, in my opinion, And we could go down like that. The shock order had arrived with this new government like 10 years ago. In the street sellers in downtown, near my studio, street sellers being smashed by everything. They always trying to stop the street sellers. It's like a wave. Every 10 or 15 years, there were no street sellers anymore. And then it's like a hold air, or water. It goes. I say that because I love the street sellers. They are my teachers. All my work is based on it. You pick up a work like all these ones that you saw, you pack it, put it in the bag, send it somewhere, and then you put it up again, like the works you have seen. If there was no street sellers, and I didn't honor them and recognize them as an inventor, as architects, or artists, or just human being, great people, craftsmen, craftswoman, I would, 5 minutes, I wouldn't be here today because you wouldn't know my work. Because Brazil, Rio de Janeiro is quite far from here. And here is the center of the art scene. So I wouldn't be flying because these things are big. How are we going to fly something so big or too heavy? But this is light and easy to carry. Street sellers, knowledge. Anyway, they arrive on downtown, create a big mess. In the end of the year, they decide to westernize the beach of Ipanema, Copacabana, Leblon, all of it. And then they forbidden, I'm not going to tell many details because a lot of things that they try to do, we're going to do like that, and they try to organize as a Western, the intellectuals who are organizing that, but the problem is that they are not Westerns too, you know, they can go to the university, make PhDs, study here, but they are not Western because we are mixed, we are not Western, you know. But anyway, then they stop this thing. And then, the summer, no more staircase of sandbags staircase on the beach because it's not nice, it's not cool, it's not chic, it's not controlling, it's not organized by the power, by the ones who own the things. You know, it's quite trash. You know, you go down the beach, you understand, and health and safety always use it to smash the craft work, in my opinion. But anyway. And then, one day, I was installing this work. I began to do crochet in '95, but I was returning to that. I didn't know how to put everything together. I had to find one solution that is the negative crochet, and I came back. I was coming from Norway. I arrived on Tuesday in São Paulo. People was already working. We were working. And I wanted to go to Rio de Janeiro, but we needed to find a way, and was doing this thing. And then, finally, on Saturday, last airplane, I went to Rio de Janeiro. On Sunday, I went to the beach. When I arrived on the beach, the branch, the arm to the beach that was, the beach is alive, you know. I forgot to say about that to you. The beach is alive like we are, you know. And the sea came in the end of the summer that they took out the staircase and eat the whole beach. So this branch, it was like I don't know, 4 meters or 3 meters out of the sand. So you couldn't go there because it was like that, it was closed. And then, but the beach is alive and the sand began to come back again. So it disappeared around March, but in September it was coming back and the sand was coming up. And the sand was like this high from the arm. And you know what's happening? We had the arm from the society, to arm from the state, the passageway from the state to the people. If you think about the sidewalk would be the state, and the sand would be the people. We have this arm of the state, but in between the arm that doesn't touch the ground, there was 3 steps of the staircase of the sandbags. You know, so because in Brazil the street sellers, the informality, favelas, and all of it is the oil. It's something very good, but can be very badly used, like it's being used on the high business, you know, this level. Because my understanding when I come here before was the difference between, was a question, the relation between the figure and the background. Here, the relation between the figure and the background is very clear. This is figure, this is background. And in Brazil, there is a forest there. Everything can happen. But anyway, so nowadays, there is a lot of staircase. Now, we keep that for later, okay? So we keep that in mind. They took it out, and there is this step, and there is the in-between, the sandbags. Pa, 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 pa. Bicho suspenso na paisagem. Animal suspend on the landscape, because I want the continuity between the body and the planet, not separation. You know, this is at one moment in my life, after some years after this work, but after I had been to Amazon, there is a sentence from Lygia Clark from the 70s. The house is the body, is the title of her work. And something came to me, the earth is the body. Because when you see the earth as a body, we see us really part of it, part of this body, dependent, breathing this body, you know, in life with this body. And then, when I did this piece, came a sentence for me. Culture separate us, nature unify us. Culture separate us, nature unify us. We are in the bar, having beers. We are by culture. Discussing many things incredible. And suddenly a voice comes, hey, Ernesto, time to go up. Ernesto, let's get up. No, take it easy, take it easy. Ah, Ernesto, but we're going to get to go. And then at some point, Ernesto is magnetized by this talk, by this culture, by this magnetism. And I say, excuse me, guys. And Ernesto stand up. Stand up. Ernesto begin to feel himself much more introspective, together with himself. Breathing. And Ernesto walks, and Ernesto goes to the toilet. And finally, Ernesto arrives on the toilet and pee. And receive all this energy from the universe. Feel much more light. Many messages comes to Ernesto, not to say ideas. And Ernesto go back, relieve to the table. Because the voice that was talking with Ernesto was the voice of nature. Nature is stronger than culture. Nature, we are nature. Come on. Culture is part of it, but before that, we are nature. This is not culture. And then what's the cultural problematic of that? Because when somebody is bullied somewhere, depending who are, the pain looks like bigger or smaller, but it's the same. The feeling that we talk very much about what separates us, but what unifies us, where we are together. We are together in our feelings. When you have a kid and your kid gets sick, doesn't matter the culture you have, you're going to be afraid about that, you're going to be try to take care of your kid. And this is what unifies us. So the high spirituality, when we arrive in the high spirituality, there's no separation, there's no religion. We are all the same. Because in this level, it's just love. We are love, we are made by love. The world is made by micro facts. But the problem is that we don't see the facts, just the version. And the version is one religion, the version is another religion, the version is another religion. But the spirituality, the force, the Macunaíma, the guy say, the Macunaíma is there, this force that has no exactly moral, red or wrong, black or white, right and wrong, is something bigger than that where we are. And it's is in a level of respect to the other, very big, because it's a respect to amplify the humanity. Snow is humanity too. A mountain, an animal, an insect. We need to think about humanity, not just about Brazilians, Americans, I don't know, Japanese, or black, white, green, yellow. Insects, animals. It's a whole humanity. We are all one family in this planet. Anyway, let's go back. Let's go back now. Let's go on, because I think time is quite over. So this is the first exhibition. But then I went to Amazon, my friends. I went to Amazon. My friend said, you need to meet the pajés. You need to meet the shamans. And I went there. I didn't know where I was going. And when I arrived there, I said, my God, what I'm doing here, and I go back. And then I passed, we had some rituals, one ritual, and then I began to understand the majesty of where I was. Because when I was there, I saw the misery, material, the difficult, in the morning, during the day. And at night, I saw the majesty of it, the force, the spirituality, the high dimension of... So as the telescope gives to us vision to invisible things, these shamans, these pajés, they can bring visions for us of invisible things that they call spirituality. In this talk that Mr. Wolf said about spirituality and matter, it's very interesting because I have a feeling that for them, spirituality comes from the matter too. They drink plants, and the plants are going to teach them. So this is something interesting for our society, because who is teaching is the plant, is the boa, is the animals. They are the teachers. And this is something, that's why this familiarity that I'm talking about. So this vision of humanity came later for me, after I begin to listen and to learn with the pajés and the shamans what to do. So this was an exhibition at the Art Museum that we had been together trying to bring this force of the forest and let them speak and maybe create some rituals with the people without the medicine for the people, breathe a little bit of this force. And in Vienna, we did this very important moment where we bring a lot of them, the old people, younger generation, and young guys to stay there, to have this exhibition, making a room to receive them, and to bring this spirit of the forest that I believe that is very important for our society and from everywhere, and not just from the Amazon, but from everywhere. In Brazil, we have also the force of the African people, the force of the Orixás, the force of the Afro religions. And these forces are being smashed by the evangelical church, So it's really something important, in my opinion, for all of us to have this other knowledge. Because I think in the moment that we are, with global warming and social hardcore crisis, that's going to be, if you keep going on, much bigger later, I think these people can teach things for us because they're dealing with the plants, they're dealing with the land in a different way that we are doing. We dance the boa dance at the Venice Biennale. Who danced until the end feel the healing of it? The question is, when we do a dance like we saw in the end of the movie from Naini, it's not something to show to the people. It's something to be together. So people say about interaction on my work and other Brazilian artists. Interaction comes in Brazil from the relationship with the Afro-Brazilians and the indigenous Brazilians, because they dance together. They are stand-up. We like to dance stand-up. We watch the game stand-up, part of it in Maracanã, because we dance samba. If you dance rock and roll, it's fine, We don't need no education. Yoo-hoo! I can get no satisfaction. But we like to be stand-up in Brazil. We don't go to a concert and sit down like that. And the geral of Maracanã, where you watch the game stand-up, is finished. And in Mineirão, where Brazil loses from 7-1, is finished too, because FIFA, the World Cup of FIFA, because it's difficult to call it World Cup when there is these rules. You cannot sell a ticket for people watch the game stand up. You just can sell the ticket for the people watch the game sitting down. So this general place where people stand up had been cut out of the stadium. And this is part of the Brazilian crazy thing that accept these things because they are always trying to get together on this situation and not being just Brazilian. So just to finish, Well, then after that, I need to recover a little bit after Venice Biennale because it was really difficult, And I made this sculpture to breathe a little bit. And then finally, we did Gaia Mother Tree. This is the boa head. All the respect to the spirit of the boa, who teaches a lot. The boa is the one who, without a word, he speaks a lot and teaches, and is the force of the forest, at least for me. And we have a lot of people singing. We wanted to have these very traditional people singing, because the traditional singing that we have here in Switzerland are people who are really related to the earth, who are touching the earth. And I think in every culture, we had been indigenous one day. Everyone in the planet. And it's very good if we become a little bit indigenous, little by little, again, because being indigenous means be connected. I want earth here, be connected to the earth, to this stone here, to this snow that's coming here and making a mess, because then you need to have the boots to walk. And this is great, I love this kind of, this make these things. And we have the shamans there, Dayara Tucano, Álvaro Tucano, Putani, Bira Nishiwaka, Yawanawá, Putani and Bira Yawanawá, Tadeu, Sian, Tiana Ruibei, Tiana Runicuim. We have the Neto Monk too, and we have a lot of people, intellectuals too, people there discussing an assembly about what to do with the future of the Gaia and all this spirit, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, ding. That's some piece that I did coming back home. And there is these last two things that I want to show is life, you know. Life is like that. People compress life, block life, blah, blah. But life wants to live. And life goes there and get out of the prison and go to the earth, to touch the earth, to keep living. And this is this picture is how is the beach nowadays. So you see the size of the staircase. You see, so they compress. So and there was something that happened in Rio de Janeiro too, because of this thing of Bolsonaro and all of it. You know, is a problem not just for the indigenous, but for all of us, for humanity, I would say. But they are the front, you know, because people want to grow soya. And they destroy the forests for the soil. It was the sugar, it was the café. You know what I just heard? The king of Rio de Janeiro, I need to go now. King of Rio de Janeiro, long time ago, Rio de Janeiro became hotter and became without rains. And there was a lot of plantations of coffee on the Tijuca forest. There was no Tijuca forest. And they begin to replant it, to reforestate it. So all these forests that you have in Rio de Janeiro, that's called the biggest forest, urban forest in the world, had been replanted, reforestated. So I think we are living time of reforestation. Thank you very much. Sorry if I speak too much. Viva a vida. Uhul!